Hey guys, Jacob Dupre here at Sweetwater. A lot of you guys out there are musicians. Some of you have been playing a really long time, some of you maybe haven't. But one thing's for sure, when you're playing live gigs and you're playing with other musicians, one of the hardest things to execute can be ending a song. So to help you out with that, I'm going to show you 5 endings that every musician should know. So the first ending I like to call the classic ending, or you could call it the blues ending. It's very common in a lot of styles actually, jazz, blues, rock, or country, you'll even get it sometimes. And the basic idea of it is that it starts on the root, so if you're in the key of F, it starts on F, and there's one version that goes up, and then it gets you to the final chord, to the 1 chord, and there's one that goes down and then rests on the final chord. So the one that goes down is this one. So you start on F, go down to E flat, D, D flat, C, and then a half step above the root, which is F, F sharp, down to the root, to 1. So I know you've heard this before. Even if you've never played this ending or you're just starting playing with live gigs with other musicians, there are so many tunes that end like this. So this is the rhythm of it, and this is the bass line. I'll show you the chords in a second. So, right, so that was kind of swung, but it doesn't have to be swung, it can be straight. Okay, so that's the bass line. The chords go like this. So you start on the 1 chord, which is F, then down to F7 with the 7 in the bass, so that's the E flat. Then down to the 4 chord, B flat major, but with the 3rd in the bass, which is D. And then down to D flat 7, which is the flat 6 dominant chord. And then down to C7. Then you get F sharp 7 going down to F7. So flat 2 dominant to 1 dominant. So like this. So all together. So now you'll get a chance to hear that with the full band, with Don, Nick, and I, and also Dave, who works in the studio here, plays bass. Here's an example of that. I'm sitting in a la-la, waiting for my ya-ya. I'm sitting in a la-la, waiting for my ya-ya. You know I love you, you know that I love you. So in the same ending, variation 2 is the one that goes up. So you start on the F, go up to A, B flat, B, C, up to F from E. And the chords will go like this. So you have F, F7 with a 3rd in the bass, and then really like a B diminished, fully diminished chord, and then C7, and then you go up to F from E7. Or in this case, I played a 13 chord, but the basic chord would be like this. And you may notice, something to notice about the counterpoint here is that in my right hand, I was playing the bass line from variation 1, which is the one that descends. So I did this. So you can do it that way with a diminished chord, but actually you could make it like this. So right there what you're getting is basically like a D flat 7, the same chord as before, but now you have a B in the bass instead of the D flat. So it's kind of an inversion of a dominant chord. So either one of those works. Probably if you're going to end it this way, you may want to talk with the other musicians, decide exactly what chord you're going to play. That's one of those things that can mess things up live, is when discussions like that don't happen. But at least if everyone knows the basic idea of this ending, you should end together. So the way that'll go, you have F once again, and then up from E7 to F7. So here's another full band example of that variation. You know I love you. You know that I love you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The next ending is one that every piano player should know. Every keyboard player should be able to play this, and I would say in every key, because you never know. I can't tell you how many gigs I've been on where the end of the tune, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to end it. Maybe we didn't talk about it. And either the bass player, the drummer, or somebody goes, Basie! And you've got to be able to do the Basie ending. So Basie is very simple. So say we're in C major, you have the 2 minor chord, so that would be D minor, D minor 7. And I like to space it like this. Sometimes you can do a simple version, which is just this. But I like to space it out sometimes and do it like this. So what you do is you've got D minor 7 spaced out like this over 2 octaves. So D, F, and C. Then you get diminished chords, so you get E flat, F sharp, and C, so C diminished. And then you get a C major chord. And the thing to help you remember this, especially when you're practicing in other keys, is the bottom 2 notes are just going up by half steps, and they're in thirds, but they're spaced by an octave, so they're technically tenths. So you get this, then up a half step, up another half step. And the C stays the same the whole time. So in context, you might have this kind of ending. That's your Basie ending. And again, it's only 3 notes, it's very simple, so I would encourage you to do this so that no matter what tune you're in, what key you're in, if someone screams at you Basie before the end, you don't go, what key am I in? I don't know what to do. You'll just do it. So if I'm in A flat, or if I'm in D major, or if I'm in A major, or any key. I encourage you to practice that. So now you'll hear a full band example of the Basie ending, but I'll also throw in another kind of ending before it, which is a tag ending. And a lot of times you'll hear a tag ending, and then the Basie ending will be on the end. And the basic idea of a tag is really easy to understand. When you get to the end of a song, you typically have, maybe the last 2 to 4 measures, and you repeat those, usually 3 times, and then with some kind of break. And in this case, we're going to tag the last bit of the song 3 times, and then the 3rd time we're going to do a break. Then you'll hear the Basie ending, and then we'll hit a last chord. So here's an example of that.
Well, two in love and make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. I said well, love was made. Love was made. Well, love was made for me and you.
The next ending I like to call Honky Tonk Women Ending, and it's from the song Honky Tonk Women. You may know that song. And it's very common kind of shape for an ending in rock and blues. And really there could be a ton of variations because it depends on the lick you play before the final chord. But the basic idea is, say we're doing a blues like in G or something like that, and we start on the 5 chord. So we start on D7. So So that's the basic idea, right? So that top lick is some variation of. So all I'm doing there is I'm using in G, this like kind of blues lick, using B flat, A, G, E, and D. And then so like playing it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either just have everyone hold on that last G, or you could do a break and then a cue into a last chord, and someone in your band will have to cue that. So when you get to that point, and then it's very common for that last chord for everybody to kind of riff a little bit and play around on it a little bit and make it more fun, because you just got to the end of probably at least a 4 or 5 minute song, and you want to give it some energy. So you want that last chord to really have some resonance and build. Especially keyboard players, don't be afraid to tremolo and sometimes it's fun to get a little carried away, especially at the end of a song. So here's another example of that with the full band. Like the Honky Tonk Women ending, this last ending is very guitar-centric. It's typically something you'll hear a lot of guitar players play, and this one is very famous. A lot of people know it by the G-run ending, or the G-run. It's just a very famous lick. Again, it's something that there are a lot of variations on. People do it differently, but the basic idea of the G-run, the basic lick is this. So if we're in G major, of course, you have G, then to A, B flat, B, D, E, and G. So then when you put it together,